Like a fine wine. Oh, sorry, I was just savoring the aftertaste. Yep, it's me, Whale Tits. I'm back. It's been a while, I'm sorry. I was busy. I've got a bit more free time, so you can probably expect to see some more spotlights coming out of me shortly. But in this video, I'll be focusing on Fine.Brine, one of the newer heroes added. He's rather unique. He was designed by our resident creeper on the Mumble community, Marche, and like his creator, you want to stay away from this guy. Fine.Brine excels at popping up behind his victim and then spewing questionable caustic liquids onto his victim, and then slinging his tentacle over said victim's head and dragging him to his doom. So stay away from Brine.
Let's begin with an overview of Brine's skills. Brine's heroic passive, Acid Strike, is not really a passive. It's actually a short-range single-target nuke that's practically a free fire, with a 7-second cooldown and no mana cost. You should be spamming this skill all game long. It is especially useful for last hitting, dealing double damage to non-heroic, non-massive units, meaning double damage to jungle creeps and lane creeps, though not to heroes or Aeon or Levy. Still, because it deals a whopping 10% of the target's maximum health as spell damage, it'll allow your team to sneak a quick Aeon at any time of the game, including level 1 as you can see here, and it will also give your team a sizable advantage over Levy. Brine's Q, Adaptive Carapace, is actually more of a heroic passive in this case, except obviously you need to level it. This passive grants Brine a temporary boost to physical and spell resist whenever he uses a skill, including his Acid Strike. Note that the resistance buff does indeed stack, so using two skills one after another will give you twice the physical and spell resist. This skill will allow you to take a lot of punishment when you do engage, because you'll be spamming your skills, all of which are on fairly short cooldowns. However, I consider Brine's other skills far superior to this one for laning, so I don't bother with this skill until level 10. Brine's W, Adrenaline Rush, is a heal over time that also grants him a large 18% move speed buff for the duration. It has fat in scaling, 150%, and gives you the move speed and laning sustain to constantly harass with your Acid Strike and your Tentacle Rape, despite their relatively short range. In sustain fights, this skill allows you to stick on the enemy heroes as they try to run from you, and to kite them, all while out-sustaining them. I take this skill at level 2 and I max it first. Brine's E, Impale, is a 2.5 second long stun that can deal damage and allow you to drag enemy heroes. It's fairly similar to, say, Skarner's ult in League of Legends, except it's not an ult and it's on a relatively short cooldown. This skill has pretty short range. It's got slightly shorter range than your Acid Strike, but it is the best single target disable in the game, apart from, I guess, Grunty's rocket from half the map away. I can't think of any other single target that's better. The duration is, I think, longer than Drake's ult, though it's not AoE. Anyways, I get this skill first because it's a stun, obviously. I want to get that first, and it will allow you to combo skills with your lane partner very well. That's very important with Roach, to lane with someone who can take advantage of that 2.5 second stun. So heroes like Garamond, Boros, Raynor, so he can get his silence off. Tosh also works amazingly, just stun locking people very early on. That's what I can think of off the top of my head right now. But yeah, I feel like the damage on it is slightly bugged, so don't exactly rely on that. And it does glitch out sometimes. Certain skills will cancel it, like Surge or Vortex. Yeah, so I take this skill first and I max it second. Roach's ult, Nether Assassin, is a 15-second long burrow, and then whenever you attack your first attack while burrowed will deal bonus damage. You can use skills while you're burrowed and it will pop you up for a short duration while you cast the skill, and then you'll go back to being burrowed. And this skill allows you to gank at level 6, and that's what you should be looking to do as a Roach. So you should be looking to see if either lane is overextended, not the one you're in, obviously. If you can get a kill in your lane with it, go ahead and use it. It gives you around equivalent burst to Cypress, except you can get in and burrow in, and you're way tankier, and you have a 2.5 second stun, so I'd say you're even better ganker at level 6 than Cypress. But it has very poor int scaling, so because of that we're not going to focus on int, and it becomes rather useless late game when people get True Sight. So it's very much an early game skill. Late game you'll be using your heroic passive to do most of your damage, Tentacle to do most of your stunning. Nether Assassin will be much less useful. So you want to take advantage of it early game and gank with it.
For items on Brine, I like to start accelerators, interestingly enough, and an int potion, and the transporter, of course. Why? Because the move speed will allow you to get in range for your Q and your E, both of which have relatively short ranges. And of course, the move speed will help you drag people further. And the int potion will help with your early game mana issues and will allow you to spam your W, which will give you great lane sustain. Of course, an alternative to this is just to grab a pendant, but you will have a harder time running in to get that Q off and then that E off on your victims, as they will see you charging them. Past early game, like past getting your Void Scepters, which is the obvious choice on Brine, if you're doing poorly, I guess you can grab a Cobblestone, but I would just start, if you're doing poorly or if your team just needs a tank, I would just start getting 2 Xel'Naga Cartilages, which is a lot of health for the price. And eventually we're going to build those into a Superheated Mantle and a Nitrogen Retrofit, which will allow you to provide a lot of slows in the middle of team fights, as well as making you quite tanky. It's always nice to just walk next to someone and slow them by 15% move speed while you're charging around at 18% extra move speed from your W. Apart from these, I would say these 3 items are kind of his core, but Brine is not item dependent at all. You can build pretty much whatever your team wants. You can get a Taser, Shrapnel Cloak, a Chilling Artifact. Timescale, consequentially, is a very good build on him because a lot of his damage in teamfights comes from spamming his Acid Strike, which it's basically a free pyre, right? On top of these 3, which I suggest, you can also get an Electric Mantle, a Force of Entropy, you could grab a Coat of Arms, even a Black Hole Magnum if you want to try and build him kind of DPS-y with like a Black Hole Magnum, Force of Entropy, and Electric Mantle. Replacing these 3 would make him do a significant amount of damage every time he'll Q, and then he'll auto-attack for like an extra 300 spell damage, which is damn high. As well as how tanky he's going to be. So yeah, you should just build whatever your team needs, really. He's not like Jackson, who is a squishy int initiator, who needs that warp shard, absolutely. And then after that, he absolutely needs to get more health, otherwise he's going to die. And he's not like Shadow or Zeratul, who absolutely need weapon damage. Brine is just kind of a tank support, and he's pretty unique in that aspect, I think. For talents on Brine, just do the normal 0, 10, 15, focusing on getting this energy regen over sight radius, because your skills are pretty short range anyways. Energy, respawn, attributes, energy, and of course, yeah, this is all pretty standard. Banana, 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 banana. Banana, banana, banana. Banana, banana, banana. Banana. Laning phase with Roach is going to be very dependent on where you lane and who you lane with. In this case, I'm laning in the long lane with Summers, someone who can take advantage of my Tentacle. I can drag him through the minefield, as you'll see shortly with Kerrigan here. Kerrigan overextends a little, so I'm just going to Acid Strike and then drag her through as many mines as I can get, and she falls pretty low from just that harass. I'm going to keep up the aggression, and I'm going to fall low myself as well, but I'm not worried because I have my W for sustain. This exchange will continue back and forth for a while as I just try and focus harassing Kerrigan. I fall pretty low because Micro throws me,
But again, I'm not worried because I have Vitalize and Adrenaline Rush to keep myself alive. You see, I immediately dive back in there after I get my heals off and go after Kerrigan. I know that they've already used all their spells, so it's not like they're going to nuke me down any further. Whenever the lane is a little more passive, meaning I'm not trying to kill Kerrigan, which is a rare occasion, I will use my Acid Strike to get last hits. But for the most part right now, Shadow came to gank. It's 3v2, and Quisman, just MS Ward is his new name, is running for his life, but like LZ, I'm just going to go in there anyways. I do a bit more damage than LZ, a lot more damage early game. And Fumbles, their jungle, makes the mistake of going for his neutral camp thinking it's a 3v2 situation, he'll be safe, first blood. Now, Quisman's falling low, but so is Master. I'm going to go in there, and I thought that would kill him, so I backed off and then did Tentacle him. Either way he protected, so the Tentacle would have been debuffed. And so I'm like, oh, he got away, except not. Woohoo! Double kill. Continuing on laning, whenever you can, grab the 25% timescale buff. It's amazing on Roach. It'll allow you to spam your Q a lot. I'm level 6, and so let's see how much burst I can do with my ult. You can go ahead and use Adrenaline Rush to get in there faster. 1000 health down to 500 health, and then followed by a 2.5 second stun. Too bad Quisman was thrown. I'm going to go after Den because it's important to shut down their carry, obviously, letting Quisman die. But it's a good trade. I'll kill Quisman for Kerrigan any day. Obviously you saw that combo there, dragging people into his mines. If it had been any hero other than Micro, he would have died. But now I'm out of mana and Shadow has ported in, so I'm just gonna... I'm still pretty damn tanky, so I can stick around a bit, harass, and last hit with my Q, but it's not like I'm gonna get a kill at this point.
The moment you hit 6 is the moment you become a very large threat. So looking for a kill, I call our mid down, and I call our jungle Shadow to come down and help as well. He's on his way. But they're going to be very cautious. Fumble's playing Tosh here. He knows what I want to do to him. I want to tentacle him, and then he'll get splatted by Erical. So he's just going to be very cautious, and instead of killing him, I'm just backing him off the tower. But instead of killing him, we're just going to take the tower instead. So even though we don't get that like easy kill off of my level 6, I get a tower instead, which is obviously worth more.
Another combo that I thought was just beautiful between Roach and Summers. There's 3 of them top again. Chris Fumbles is trying to gank. I'm just going to burrow in, and I see Master is the lowest health. Normally I wouldn't say focus on Micro, but he's low enough health that I think I can burst him down. And I get my combo off on him and then drag him to Christmas Minefield, and he instantly dies. So a lot of people have been complaining on the forums about Jungle Shadow and not being able to shut him down. Well, as a Roach, you'll notice their team had wards, but we had a ward here-ish as well, and we were able to see the rune creep. And I was able to get there a little bit faster than the Shadow and grab the Accelerating Raptor, and then drop a buttload of damage on him. I took around a third of his health. And now he's going to go in back to his jungle and try and kill this camp, but he's just going to die in the process. In the meantime, I realized that he was low from my harass, and I ran up here to try and catch him if he went for the Fire Bat instead of the Thor. Of course, I just saw that he died to neutrals, so I'm going to run back to my lane. And I can get back to my lane and kill Den, again, because I have that Adrenaline Rush and the Accelerator move speed. That I was able to come down here, harass up to here, run up to here, and then run back and not miss my wave. Continuing on the jungling and warding motif, our ward allows us to see that Tosh is coming up to gank, Shadow is up here as well, so we're going to back out, and then we decide, oh hey, let's head over here and get Tosh. If you look at my items, I have double Zilnog cartilages. I am absurdly tanky right now, and Tosh is going to get pinned between top and mid, and his team will arrive, but I'll grab that Raptor while they're in the vortex and just go straight for their carry. And there's nothing he can do but run. It's not like he can even run from me with his ult. So I'll get that kill. And the rest of my team is backing because they're not anywhere near as tanky as I am. But I'm just going to go in and continue to harass. I see a Shadow, and I want to hurt him again as much as possible, slow down his jungle in any way possible. He's calling his team back, and it's like a 3v1 situation, but I don't know, I just don't care. I've got so much health. I'm going to walk out of that without a problem. They know they can do nothing to me. But yeah. So Roach early game, you need to take advantage of that. He does fall off severely.
Another common strategy you can do with Brine is to take Aeon at level 1 before the creep wave starts, because Aeon does actually spawn at the same time as the creeps. And with Brine's heroic passive, you can easily chew through Aeon. This is a lot more dangerous if you're on Zerg's side, because you don't have the advantage of being able to stand up here. And if Protoss decides to take their Thor, they can catch wind of you guys killing Aeon, especially since Aeon's attacks show through Fog of War. But let's just see how fast we can kill this. It's already pretty much dead. Half my team's not even here, because it takes a bit longer for them to get from Zerg's side to Aeon. But in around 15 seconds, we can kill it and start everyone off at 75% of a level and 250 minerals, which is quite a significant amount. With the Acid Strike passive, again, it's very important to keep track of Aeon and get him whenever possible. In this case, we moved towards it because we saw he had respawned, and I guess we got a kill. But the important thing is stand up here so you can provide vision to your team. You're still in range to Acid Strike it, so that's fine. We see the Rancor coming in, so I'm going to save my Acid Strike until it gets low enough that I can last hit it with the Acid Strike. Very few heroes can do more burst damage to Aeon or Levy than your Q alone, because it does 10% of the target's health. Though keep in mind that 10% is not actually going to be 10% because the bosses have damage resist. I believe Aeon has 40% damage resist and Levy has 60%. So obviously stealing Levy or Aeon, very big for the team, a lot of money. Also knowing the ranges of towers can be nice, because I don't believe Decon could see me there. Let's see if Diplo could see me. Yep, Night Burrow. Sees me for a second. Yeah, so you can sneak by the towers like that, and you can't see me at all. And I realize that by now you're probably getting sick of me saying this, but again, as Brine, you aren't very good late game, but you're amazing early game. You have amazing control over Aeon, and you have amazing ganks. The moment you see it's up, you should take the chance to go take it. You can see you can solo it pretty easily with your sustain, your stun, and your Q. And then I see a Speed Raptor. It's my lucky day, right? So with this, I want to gank mid while he's not suspecting it. So I'm going to run around a bit. Mid's not there, so I'm going to go check their jungle. He's not in the jungle. And boom, he pops up on the minimap. Immediately go back down, and look at him. He's already half dead. So I'm just going to charge right in there. He's got a well-placed trap there, but it's not going to save him. He's dead. I don't even have to use my ult. Toxie falls a little low, but now we're going to get mid-tower as well. So in around the matter of like 1.5 minutes, Brine can take Aeon, get a gank off, and then push tower down. And this is where his strength truly is. Like this early mid-game, where he's got his max level heal and his ult, he can just take control of a game, take control of the map. And that's what you absolutely need to do, because as you'll see in the very short team fight section coming up, there's not much to him in team fights, and he's not very good late game. Again, Brine's biggest strength, I don't know. I find he's really weak late game in team fights, but his biggest strength is getting a fast Levy and then initiating a fight early game, or ganking early game. If you saw how much one of my Qs did to it, it's something like some absurd amount of damage. Oh, and you can stun Levy, which is even better. So I believe I started with a Q and I took it down 3 bars. Either way, that's a quick Levy for us. By the time they scanned, it was too late, and now I'm going to go initiate a team fight. So if you know that they don't have detection, just do this. Just jump in there, grab their DPS, pull them back, and then he's going to get raped instantly. Vorpal gets a little ahead of himself, and I don't know, almost dies, I guess. Does he actually die? No, he doesn't. The way I've built Roach this time, of course, you should just charge in there while you have your skills. I built Timescale Roach. This was an experimental build, and with this build, what you want to do is you want to go in there, use all of your abilities, and then back out. and then go in again in like 3 seconds or so, because by then you'll have healed a lot of health and you'll have your abilities again. Timescale Roach are really useless if you don't have your abilities, which is why I favor Superheated Mantle Nitrogen Roach, because then I can just stay in there while I'm waiting for my ability cooldowns and slow and deal damage from my aura. Yes, it's 2 different ways to play. If this were a Superheated Mantle and Nitrogen build, then I would, instead of backing out like you saw I did there after using my skills, I would just stay in there and tank. As is, this is a bit squishier, and I just have to make sure that they're within my chilling artifact aura. Again, there's not much else to team fighting than sneak in, grab a carry, and unload all your skills on them. As you'll see here, I go right after their Nova, and in my combo, I basically killed her. So by burrowing in, she can't see me, and then I Q and drag her immediately. She's stunned for 2.5 seconds. And before my stun runs out, you should probably get the auto attack off. Otherwise, she'd probably just run away or something. But that's all there is to it. The reason this doesn't work late game is because all your skills are very limited range, around half the range of a taser, which is going to screw you over completely. And of course everyone has true sight, so you can't sneak in, which makes Roach a very, very early game based hero. You either need to win the game early and make them surrender by taking the bosses and everything and just pushing and ganking, or you need to hope that in doing all of that you fed one of your carries big time. Though you do have, okay, I guess here's another example of how much burst you can do. Bam! Zeratul is down to Edward Torres. You are down to 150 health. Getting slowly burned by my Superheated Mantle, but I don't think I'm going to catch him. Yeah, I think he gets away. Oh, yeah, last stand and protect still. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Not much to team fighting. Just try and win the game early. Gank, push towers, take control of the bosses, and win before they get tasers and chronos, because that's bad news bears for you. Very bad news bears. I'll see you guys next video.